taking action for you this morning on TV 20 Detroit starts right now.
What's happening in entertainment? From Tinseltown to the Big Apple, this is your weekly entertainment magazine with Greg Dunmore of PULSEBEAT.tv.
Pulse of a new generation. PULSEBEAT.
When Detroit gets it right, nobody does it better. And we're at the grand opening of Michigan Central, and this concert is hot, hot, hot. We had a chance to see Diana Ross. The Clark sisters. Jack White. I mean, it's been out of sight. So stay tuned as we give you more of this happening, the grand opening of Michigan Central.
My grandparents came up here from Alabama, either on the bus or the train. They came through Michigan Central Station, and I just wish my grandpa could have been alive to see this. But it is a testament to the family and the company making an investment and saying we're not going to tear something down, we're going to build it better. And so, as a Corktown resident, I'm moved. My children play in Roosevelt Park multiple times a week. And to have this become some of the premier workspace, collaboration space in the country, in the world, it's a point of pride for the city of Detroit and the state of Michigan.
So this is history making, and this is part of the vision of Michigan being one of the greatest destination states, and this is part of why people will come to Michigan.
Yeah, it's incredible, and it's wonderful to see what's going on at the depot here. Thanks to the Fords for doing all this wonderful work. If you step back and look years ago, I told people if Michigan's to be a great state again, Detroit has to be on a path to being a great city again. Look around.
Indeed,
it's happening. There's still more work to be done, but it's happening.
Now arriving at Sprout Street. Please yield seats to senior citizens.
There's something about trains.
You know what? I was fortunate to actually take a train from this station before it was went into a state of dormancy. But let me tell you something. When I walked in a few weeks ago, just to get a glimpse of what they've accomplished here, the Fords have accomplished here, I was almost in tears.
Yes.
It's beautiful. So if you remember, or even if you don't remember and you want to start some new memories, get down here. This is worth seeing.
Indeed so. And when I say stop in the name of love, that only means who is going to be performing?
The one and only Diana Ross?
Yeah. What about Detroit do you want people to know that you've always known?
Detroiters are resilient. And sometimes it looks like we're down, but we're never out. So don't ever count us out, dear. And when we put the right people together, we can do anything. All right? And that's what I want you to know about Detroit.
Well, Carmen, it's always wonderful seeing you. You are a Detroit legend, and the spirit of Detroit always just exudes from you.
All right, thank you so much. Enjoy. This is fabulous.
Thank you, Carmen. Well, does this bring back... No, you're too young for this to bring back memories.
Well, I didn't grow up in Detroit. I didn't come here until 1966. So I missed a lot of what this was all about. I saw the ruins, and now to see this turnaround is absolutely unbelievable.
Now, the vision of Detroit that you are very much a part of, and the world now is looking at Detroit, and so what is something that you would want people looking at the city in 2024 to know that maybe you always knew?
Detroit has some of the greatest people that I've ever met. I'm a Washingtonian by birth, and I've traveled the world. But I've made Detroit my home going all the way back to 1966, and it's all about the people. I came here as a basketball player, and now I've grown up as a man here in Detroit. Detroit's done a lot for me.
Well, you know what? I saw you from a distance, and I said, you know, that guy looks like a younger version of Dave Big.
You've been very nice. Yeah, I've been blessed, man. I'm 80 years old, and I'll tell you, my health is good, and it's so good to be able to get around and see this city come back the way it is.
Well, and you know, I've got to ask the secret, because you really, and when I talk about ageless, you are truly ageless. One secret to being ageless.
It's about my mama and daddy. It's all about the genes.
Good genes. And is there something that we can say that is a Dave Bing scoop that we picked up at the opening of Michigan Central, something that you're doing that this audience should know about?
I'm mentoring young black boys who are without a dad in their home and no man in their life. And so with a lot of black men, we are trying to change the whole story about black men not caring about black boys. Not true. We've had 100 boys in our program, and they're all doing well.
Right. And I want to tell you that the best is yet to come, but you're already the best.
Thank you so much, Greg. Thank you.
And wow. And you know, one of my favorite names is Gregory. I'm Greg Dunmore. I'm Gregory Dunmore. I like that name. So let us know about your feelings, the opening of Michigan Central. This is history making, no?
It is history making, and for me, it's incredible. I mean, the job that they did with this place, bringing it back to life, words evade me right now, but I will say this. This is just part of what's going on in the city. I mean, the Renaissance is alive. I'm so thrilled to be able to see it. I was very young when I first came to Detroit, and Detroit was thriving and bustling similar to this decades ago. So it's nice to see it happening again, and hopefully the momentum won't stop.
Tell the audience why, when they come to Detroit, this is a must-see destination.
Well, it shows, I think, in one trip, what we're doing in Detroit, where we've been, and where we're going. This train station was unbelievable, then it fell into ruin, and then the Ford family stepped up, put $1 billion into it, I believe, and brought it back to its original beauty. And we're doing the same thing with our city. You could see that as the fans came for the NFL draft, and we pack them in at Little Caesars Arena for Pistons games, even though we need to be a little better, and we will be. And the Lion crowds are outstanding, same for the Red Wings and for the Tigers. So we love having all our teams downtown too, by the way. It's the only city in America that has all 4 of their sports teams within a couple-mile radius. So that's a big plus for Detroit.
So I guess it's true. Ford has a better idea, and this idea to renovate this and make it a destination proves that Ford still knows what the better idea is.
Good for them. My hat's off to them.
We've been so excited watching this come to life because we understand that it's bringing the community together. Corktown, Roosevelt Park, and Mexican Town. And to just see this come to life in the middle of all this culture and development is pretty significant.
PULSEBEAT.
Yeah, so, you know, among all of the wonderful things, you're saying this is something special, right?
This is one of my favorites. So what this is the 1927 Lost and Found Ledger. So imagine you're on a train, you're going from Detroit to Chicago, and you leave your handbag, your book, your overcoat. It would have got recorded in this document what it was, what train it was found on, the date and the time. And then the last item remains, that's once they got it back to you. So some of the items that people lost in the train station, books, umbrellas, overcoats, but the very first item lost at the train station was a standard poodle named Tessie. She escaped her basket, ran off, and was playing with the cab drivers. They had to find her and haul her back in. But even the loss of Tessie is recorded in this book as the ledger for Michigan Central Station's Lost and Found.
But I mean, how many years from 2024 would this have been? It would be over...
Oh, over 80 years old.
Oh, over 80 years?
Yeah, over 80 years old.
And you now have a real good sense of the history and the richness of why Michigan Central is such a dynamic place that had to be renovated. Let us know probably one of the most dynamic factors that made it a place that had to be not destroyed.
That's such a great question. Michigan Central is the heart of Detroit. Every Detroiter has a connection to this building, whether they're of my generation and it was uninvited parties and unofficial gatherings at the station, or whether they saw loved ones off to one of the world wars from here. This is a building people were engaged in, had their first jobs in, moved to Detroit through. So this building runs through the timelines of everyone's personal history, and it means that this building is part of all of us. And to save such an iconic building for the city and to give it back to the community, it feels like a friend has been resurrected.
Now, what I'm curious about, we know that Washington has Union Station,
yes, sir,
and New York has Grand Central Station, and their stations have been vibrant in various stages, and I don't think they were ever allowed to decay, but is it because of the automobile capital? What caused such a magnificent piece of architecture that was a train station to just become abandoned?
It's a great question. Well, the train station in and of itself is a bit of a white elephant. It is beautiful and gorgeous and wonderful, but it's an expensive building to maintain, heating, cooling. And under Amtrak, which was the last organization to run trains through the station, as train travel decreased because point-to-point automobile travel became cheaper, easier, and in many ways more convenient. You didn't have to ride to a train station and then find transportation from the train station to your final destination. You could hop in the car, get on the Davidson, and go. At the same time, we start building expressways in Detroit. The Davidson, the first subterranean expressway in America. Woodward, the first paved road in America. So as all of this is happening, we're making car travel easier, which makes train travel less necessary. At its height, the station saw 4,000 passengers a day. But by the time we reached 1988, January 5th, 1988, the last train leaves, the station sees fewer than 200 patrons a day. And so the building started getting closed off in sections. No longer could you use the waiting room. No longer was there a restaurant. And as the amenities went away, the building slowly started to go into hibernation. As it comes through Amtrak and it has several independent private owners, none could really climb the mountain that was the restoration of this building. And I think that speaks so heavily to the Ford family and the Ford Motor Company and now Michigan Central, that these organizations not only wanted to do it, but they wanted to do it right to the very grout in the tiles, that they wanted this building to come back in such an incredible way, and that they had the vision to get it done.
This marks the 115th anniversary of the Ford Motor Company. But once the last train pulled out, it became a place where hope left. As parts of Detroit hollowed out, so did this station. It became a symbol of the city's hard times, a monument to its struggles. It's time for that to change. It's time to remake this station It's time to remake this station into a place of possibility again. Today, the Michigan Central Station has a new owner, Ford Motor Company. And what I want people to know is this isn't just a symbolic gesture. We have big plans for this station and for Corktown.
I'm really proud of them. Really proud of the hard work that's got into it. I've watched a lot of my family members pour a lot of their time and energy and passion, and I'm proud of that. There is so much to surprise and delight here that I think you wouldn't even expect. There's a lot to discover culturally, and it's worth it.
Looking at this view, some of the thoughts that just come to mind and knowing that you can't see this in Los Angeles.
First thought that comes to my mind is anything is possible. Reach for your dreams, and you can always restore an old gem. Yeah, come here, get inspired, see the community, and I think you'll be leaving with something to talk about.
So when you talk about Ford having a better idea, indeed so, and one ideal that certainly has to go down in the books as being miraculous and magnificent is renovating what place?
Michigan Central Station.
PulseBeat.
You know, there used to be a television show, What's My Line? And you would have to guess what the person does. So I'm sure if a person looked at you, they would say movie star, but you would correct them and you would tell them that I am a
master plumber and a plumbing contractor.
And history making, because when we think of master plumbers, we don't think of females. And as an African American female, let us know the history making status that you carry.
I'm the first African American licensed female master plumber in North America, and I think in the whole world.
Wow, that's fantastic. And from an infrastructure standpoint, because you were involved in this is your baby right here. So let us know your feeling when you first saw it and what you're feeling right now.
When I first walked into the building, it was abandoned, it was alone, it was cold. The rain was still coming in, plaster was falling down, it was wind blowing in. It was like it was crying out for help. And we had to figure out how to, as I call it, bring the phoenix from the ashes. And that's what Ben Curry did. We breathed life back into this building. We were on this project for 6 years. Our team and I came in. We did the tower of all the plumbing systems. We piped it. And we did had the opportunity to be blessed with working with Chrisman and with Richard Bardelli, who was with Fordland. He was the one that made all this happen.
Well, you know, this is really wonderful because the spirit of the diversity is just outstanding, because we've got a master plumber and a master architect, and it is just incredible that when women do what they do and when they're African American females on top of it, because I know the journey, and to know that you're part of this makes you feel how, because you were bragging about her. Now I want you to brag about her.
Well, Beverly and I have been knowing each other for over 30 years, and Beverly is the first black female architect I ever met and know, and to my knowledge, the only one that I know of. And she is my sister. We've been together through thick and thin. We've been just here for each other, supporting each other. And now she is the architect on this project, and she's going to finish it up, get the hotel moved in, and get all the other contractors and other whatever businesses that want to move in here. She's going to make sure they have everything they need.
And you know, when I hear your name, it really always gives me such pride, because I know that you symbolize the best of the best. So architecturally speaking, your feelings about this is your baby. You are both mothers of this,
yes,
metaphorically speaking, but let us know your feelings about this gem that you're so involved in making shine again.
Well, it's just amazing that we are part of the Michigan Central train station. I remember my mother talking about how she was here as a child, and for me to be architect of record on this project is so humbling. And for Adrian to have been a part of the foundation of it, I know that we are in the right place at the right time. So it's just humbling, and I'm happy to be the architect of record for it, and we look forward to showing all of the grandeur that the train station was from the past.
Indeed so, and I don't know if any other city could claim its ability to identify the sort of talent and resources that we have in the city of Detroit. Right. So I don't know if this could have happened in any other city with two dynamic women being in such key positions.
It could not have. It could not have. And as a black female architect with 31 years in the business, I'm just happy to be an architect in Detroit right now, because there's so much happening, and our city is on fire. And I'm glad to be a part of what's happening for now and the next couple of decades. It's amazing.
You know, I love saying the expression, the best is yet to come, but you two are already the best.
Yes,
are we?
Yeah, we ask ourselves, what's next? After you build a station, what's next?
Yeah.
So we have to see what's next. God will let us know.
They said that they're going to be going to the moon doing something, and I'm sure you two will be involved on some level when the moon becomes a location for us to visit.
I go to the moon with you, Adrian.
That is one plumbing contract I would love to have.
Thank you both.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much.
My name is Adrian Bennett, and this is how I power America forward.
What's happening in entertainment with Greg Dunmore of PULSEBEAT.tv.
If you like what we're doing, please tell a friend, or if you want to see what we've done again, go to PULSEBEATglobal.com. That's PULSEBEATglobal.com. You can also go to our PULSEBEAT TV YouTube channel and you can revisit what we're doing. And once again, you can tell everybody that we're doing something that is so exciting that they wouldn't want to miss it. Remember PULSEBEATglobal.com or the YouTube channel PULSEBEAT TV. Thanks for telling the world about us.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available.
I thought it was very fascinating because Michigan Central was a grand train station. It was a destination for people to go and to leave. And I think in terms of the sound of Detroit, this is a destination city for people to come, listen, and for also the music to go out throughout the airwaves of this world. The soundtrack of our lives were part of what we witnessed as we saw such acts as Diana Ross. It was produced by the hip-hop artist Emmy, and he brought other names that were very much a part of why Detroit is a music capital like none other, to spotlight Big Sean.
To the greatest city in the world, Detroit, make some noise!
To spotlight someone as magnificent. We know about the Supremes, but we can never downplay the Clark sisters. And also Melissa Etheridge. She was not from Detroit, but certainly when we think about Detroit's rock credibility, she talked to that as well.
The body's softly swaying down an empty street, down on the street, down on Main Street.
Jelly Roll.
And the star again, here I go, turn the page.
We had Fantasia, who looked fantastic as she really did excite the audience. And it happened, I think, in part because she was energized being in the city of Aretha Franklin that she called home. And she was only maybe 5 minutes from where Aretha Franklin would take her last breath, which was the Riverfront Towers in Detroit, of course. So I think in terms of some things that were maybe not spotlighted in the way that we're going to do it on PULSEBEAT with Greg Dunmore, it was awe-inspiring because when I saw Diana Ross, who was 80 years old, and I think about Beyonce and Rihanna, and I think about all the younger performers that are dazzling the world, and they are young women. But when the seasoned and sensational Diana Ross was center stage, she reminded people that it really only gets better if you are the best at what you do. Diana Ross sparkled at age 80, upstaging women who are half her age. And that really is inspirational for anybody that hopes to live in that 50+ part of one's life. And I thought about the Clark sisters as well. These are women over 50, and there would be no group of women that could come together as an ensemble, and I mean, they were sanctified, they were super dynamic in what they did through the music of the gospel that really becomes also a signature of Detroit's greatness. I mean, this is the home that produced Aretha, and when you talk about Amazing Grace, I mean, I don't have to say anything more, but I can talk about the Winans, I can talk about Commissioned, I can talk about Vanessa Bell Armstrong, I can talk about so many of the gospel names that have come into really international attention because of whatever happens in Detroit. And someone said that what happens in Detroit is the drinking water. That is part of what makes Detroit such a place that gives birth to the absolute best in arts and entertainment. So I would like for everyone watching this to know that history was made. Michigan Central's awe-inspiring grand opening was one for the books. And I think the title of the book should be Detroit, one of the greatest cities on the planet.
Detroit!